true beginners.
What is going on, everybody? So good to see you. So good to be back for another episode of Press X to Podcast. You know,
throwing up all of my data. It's fine. It's nothing to worry about. I'm normal and can be trusted with human food.
100%. 100%. I may have not gotten all of that, but James was saying that he's feeling a little bit under the weather right now.
Yep.
And there may be some upchucking going on during this show. Maybe not into the microphone necessarily, but at some point.
It's very expensive.
Yeah.
I will throw all my ups somewhere else, preferably into my toilet.
Well, hopefully,
It's fine.
yeah.
It's fine.
Right.
All right. We're good. I'm so good. We're Gucci.
Beautiful.
Okay, let's fucking do this.
Formatting is a little bit different tonight. Obviously, as you can see, we are here without... I feel like we're here without Dad.
Yeah, Father Paul.
You know?
is away.
Father Paul.
Doing the good work.
I think maybe we'll do another one next week.
Why
But
not, man?
until then, you've got just us two.
We've been on a sort of impromptu summer vacation, so it's probably good to get a couple of them in the can, right?
Yeah.
So we're not like totally behind.
100%. 100%.
We covered the biggest, baddest, boldest bullshit with the video game prezzies, I believe. I'm going to be perfectly honest, friends and neighbors. I do not remember what we talked about the last time we met up for old Press X to Pod.
Well, I think our last episode was just Final Fantasy talk, or at least
yeah, that's fair.
heavily influenced by Final Fantasy.
Okay, yep.
I think we may have discussed a little bit of news, but yeah, it was pretty much all Final Fantasy, and since then I have been just playing that, so I don't know. Is there anything else to say about that game?
Yeah, I gave it a hot little hundo, and I don't feel even the littlest bit bad about it.
Nope.
If I had to do it again, I'd just do it again. It would just be 100% one more time, baby. Run it back.
Yeah.
It's just everything I could possibly want out of a Final Fantasy game. Brooding anime men, burly, chiseled, brooding anime men, plotting to kill God. you're a cool dog that you can hang out with and also use to kill God.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, what more could you ask for?
uh, summon battles that are basically the most epic shit that they've ever done. Listen, Rhett, no, listen, no, we have to talk about these for a minute because last time we could not. Because people had not gotten to the summon battles, and I kept
Right.
having to be all cagey, like, "Oh, just wait till you get to that thing." I'm like, "No, no, it's the summon battles. It's the best boss fights that they've ever had."
That fight with Titan, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that shit is choice.
It's unbelievable. And
Yeah.
it seems like with each boss fight, each icon, each dominant you face, they get better and better and better. The pacing
Well,
is just incredible.
yeah, yeah. Basically, the way it goes is like this. Generally, how they're structured is you have a more difficult fight versus the human form of the dominant, and then they kick you around a little, and you do your best to fuck them up, and then you trade blows, and then you win that battle, and then you get your dessert, which is the icon battle, which is just all like quick time events and like just you smashing the holy fuck out of this thing with like the most powerful specials that basically have no cooldown, and you're just like, ah, big moves, baby.
Yeah. Easily the greatest cinematics you'll see in a Final Fantasy game.
Yep.
Easily.
It reminds me of it feels like it goes all the way back to Final Fantasy 7 and 8, where you had those big cinematics that you couldn't escape, that you would just run every time you like hit one of the summons. But now they're slightly more interactive, they look a lot better, and I feel like there's more emotional investment.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just feel like they matter more.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
Especially coming off of 15, which I know 15, it had its emotional moments here and there, but nothing that I thought hit like the big story beats in 16.
well, 15 and 12, in my opinion, suffered from pacing problems where, like, you had this really great story, but you had to do all these stretches of weird, random bullshit in between the great story. Also, a lot of 15's great story sort of happens off camera.
Mm,
So, like,
right.
it's got some flaws.
Totally. Totally.
I love that game. It has problems.
Yeah. Yeah. What if you had to score? Were you with
No,
COG when 15 came
no,
out? No,
I
okay.
was not. It was before my time.
Now, if you did have to score that game, though, what do you think?
Oh, I probably would have still put it pretty high because, um,
It's it's well made. The production is there. It's just
yeah.
after playing 16, I'm like, there's clearly
Well,
a difference
for
here.
me, back then, right? I just come off of 13. And 13 is just like a series of hallways
Right.
where you fight very difficult boss
Right.
battles at the end of them. And
Right.
so, like, suddenly you get to 50 and it's like this huge, wide open world of like fun and adventure, and it's just completely self-directed, and it like looks amazing, and it's like a much more mature story, and like the fucking the emotional beats of the opening and holy shit the ending, and you're like, oh, okay, wow, I'm completely, my socks are fucking rocked right off, man. Like, I'm sure at the time, coming hot off the heels of 13, I would have scored that motherfucker high.
Right.
It's only in retrospect, looking back, that I'm like, okay, not their best work, I still love it, but they've
Mm,
had better, right?
fair enough.
Like 7 remake, for example, which is
Right.
like,
When's part two supposed to drop? Is that next year?
yes, sometime in 2024, um, which will be interesting because they've established pretty cleanly that, like, oh yeah, we're no idea what's going to happen. We're diverging from the original Final Fantasy VII timeline. Who
Ah,
fucking knows how it's going to go down?
interesting.
Um, yeah. So like,
Whereas
there's some
with part one, they kept it pretty on point, didn't they? I mean, I know that
kind of.
I think that they explored more of what they did show, but at least as far as like the major story beats, didn't they kind of keep it similar?
Sort of.
Sort of, okay.
A little bit. Like they expanded on a bunch of things. Like there's a lot of little moments that they tried to turn into full sequences to mixed success. And the ending is where it really diverged enough so that
Okay.
people were like, well, what the fuck is happening with part two?
Right.
And then you see the trailers for part two, and it's like, well, okay, sure, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's even as much as you thought it was going to be weird. Now it's absolutely going to be weird. Um, yeah, but you listen. I'm the guy at the party who will corner you and just talk to you about Final Fantasy until you make some sort of excuse to leave. It's just my house is on fire, my cat has killed the president, I have to go, and
Yeah.
then I just never see you again. Um,
That's all right. That's all right.
yeah.
So with that being said,
With that being said,
what else have you been playing?
I did play some Pikmin 4.
Oh yes, 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 yes. Pikmin 4. This was
Yeah.
your first Pikmin game, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
I've done no Pikmining before this. This is my only Pikmin,
And
and it's good. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
um, it's interesting because like it's very much not my style of game. Like it's not something I would ever seek out ordinarily. But I recognize just looking at the disparate components and how it's put together and the way it's structured and stuff like that. You're like, oh, this is very well designed. I like this. I appreciate this. I appreciate the mission based structure, and there's this completion element to it where it's like you've 100% explored an area that pleases the lizard brain
mm,
a lot. Where you're like, oh fuck yeah, this is done. This is I love that. That feels good. Time to move on. And there's like many different kinds of Pikmin, and like they're all useful in different scenarios. You got sort of like a deeper strategy thing you can do. Um, there's yeah, there's a lot of content there, and a lot of extra cool shit. There's like the Dandori battles where you're just like little cool dungeons that where you can like get high scores and stuff like that and get stuff from it. It's good. It's well structured. You know, if you're the kind of guy who's like, man, I love Pikmin, I want a lot of Pikmin, and you're like, fuck yeah, this is it. This is for you. You're gonna love this shit.
yeah.
Tons of Pikmin.
Well, the question I inevitably have for you,
Mm,
being that it is a Switch exclusive, and
mm-hmm.
it sounds like we might get into some Switch 2 rumors a bit later, but
We will.
how does it run?
Fine.
Fine, good, stable frame rate.
Yeah. Um, as far as I can gather, yeah, stable frame rate. It's because it's a first party game
Yeah,
and it's the fourth in this series, so they know some tricks
yeah,
for how to like make it look good and run well. Because like it's just like simple stuff with like the textures of the environment and like because you're very small and a lot of the objects are very large, it's easy to make them look very good.
nice.
It's yeah, you can do little tricks and tips, and you can just sort of like, ooh, that's really crisp and cool looking. But like the actual your little guys, the Pikmin that you can control, kick around, they're extremely simple design wise, and they have like
Yeah,
simple animation and like so it's really easy for the Switch to run like 60 or 70 of them at once, which is actually pretty impressive. You can have like 70 of the little fuckers following you around just doing various things, and the system's just like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. Like I didn't mention it in my review because it didn't even occur to me to talk about it because it was just like it just felt so like normal. It was just like, yeah, it runs fine.
hmm. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to check it out again.
Yeah,
Being that it's a first party game,
it'll be fine, man.
it'll
Yeah.
be fine. Yeah, they rarely go on sale though when they're first party, and if they do, it's usually not by very much. So
Yeah, the only way I can get discounts on Switch games is if I acquire enough Switch games and then it gives me those gold points or whatever, and then I just use a bunch of those to make a game cheaper. That's my
mm,
only strategy. There's nothing else I can really do.
yeah, yeah, that's a good call.
But but that's great. That's actually really good. If you if you get enough games, then it's just like one of them will be cheap. One of them, though. It's a very flawed system. It's a real pittance in terms of deals compared to what every other console gives you.
Well, Nintendo usually allows you to get that, like, what do they call it? It's like a 2-in-1 pass, essentially. Can you still get that online? Where, yeah, I think it's like $140 and you get 2 games of your choosing with it. You know what I'm talking about?
That's like a $30 or $40 discount.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, technically it's okay. You're basically getting like $20 off of both games. Again, you can I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything good to say about Nintendo's deals because they don't have deals.
Yeah, fair enough.
You can't criticize something that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm surprised with all of their, well, maybe I'm not really surprised, I don't know. But I was going to say, with how closely they work with Microsoft at times, you would think that they would come up with some sort of Nintendo pass. But I guess no, they don't have that. Because I was going to say, they've got the old school collection that you can get into if you subscribe. But, I mean, they're all old games. It's really not like Game Pass is.
Yeah, they're being very choosy with it. They're being very like, we'll put in a couple of things here and there. We don't want to make sure this is worth too much money, even though we're charging you a fucking king's ransom just to have access to these games. It's interesting because strictly speaking, there's a lot of good shit on there, but I've gotten it so many times from Nintendo through like the 3DS eShop and the Wii shop that like I've played a lot of this shit a bunch of times already, to the point where it's like, we've got Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. I'm like, I don't care, man. You already sold that shit to me like 10 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I beat it. And I beat it when I bought it the first time for Game Boy Color. Like, fuck out of here, man.
Totally. 100%. So Pikmin, you reviewed it. What did you end up scoring it?
I think it was something in the 8 out of 10 range. I try to be objective about it because it's just like, okay, it's not my thing, but like, look, a lot of this is cool. It looks good and slick.
Mm-hmm.
The fucking systems are well crafted. It runs well. There's a lot of content. There's extra shit beyond what they had from the previous entries in the series. So I don't know, man.
That's pretty good.
Great. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just double check to see what I can discuss in regards to
the thing you're playing.
A game I'm playing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Give me one moment. Yeah, so
sure.
So it doesn't say anything about not mentioning that I have it, and I think I can keep this. Within the embargo guidelines. So I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay.
And I can't really say anything about what I think about the game, but what I can say, because the game's been in early access for 3 years, so I can discuss at least how confused I am with the game. I have no idea how to fucking play it.
Okay.
I did. I played a fair amount of Divinity 2 with a friend who was a big fan.
Okay.
But he was there to kind of guide me through it, and I have no clue how to play this game on my own. So hopefully I can figure it out by the time I need to actually start writing this review. But as it stands right now, I'm banging my head against the wall with Baldur's Gate.
Okay. Is it just because it's a lot of big, crazy systems you're not familiar with?
Yes.
You're trying to like.
That's That's exactly it. Yeah. Okay. Tons of classes, tons of races, tons of different ways you can approach things, tons of different spells and attacks and moves, and it's just so fucking overwhelming. I can't even begin to describe. For somebody that doesn't have previous experience with D&D, with too much experience with Divinity and these kinds of games, I never played Baldur's Gate 1 or 2. So for somebody like me going into it, oh man, I can't remember the last time, if ever, I felt this overwhelmed with a game when trying to get started.
What about The Witcher? That one was sort of unfriendly.
Yeah, it was, but I mean, it was still easy enough to pick up and get into. Like, it was still easy enough to pick up and like, okay, so I've got this sword and I can hit B to dodge and A to roll and X is my light attack and triangle or Y is my heavy attack. Those systems are all fairly standard, fairly basic. I think anybody with any sort of like action game experience can pick it up and get into it in that sense. This game, like I don't even really understand how to fight. I don't even really understand. Like,
is it like turn based or like?
Yeah, it's turn based. It's turn based. And yeah, it's all about like synergy, you know, combining things and using your inventory. And I'm always worried that I'm using the wrong spells on certain characters, or like the wrong I'm building characters incorrectly, which from what I've read, you can't really build your characters incorrectly in this game. That's kind of the beauty of it, that the most important aspect of these kinds of games is just as long as you're having fun with the role playing. So that is what I'm trying to keep in the back of my mind, is that, you know, whether I put electricity on this guy or fire on that guy or water spells on that guy, or if I give him a sword, as long as I'm able to actually enjoy the role-playing aspect of it, that's really what it's all about. And yeah, so hopefully hopefully I can figure it out.
I think you will. I think beyond that, I've heard stories from creators like Sean Twitter where they're just like, oh, by the way, I'm never calling it the other name. You can get fucked, Musk. That's right.
Oh, X?
Yeah. No, we're not. I'm not indulging in that. I don't give a shit. I don't care if all the names change. It's Twitter forever. Sorry.
I kind of like it. I kind of like X. It's clean. Looks good. The new logo's nice.
It's less cool when you realize that he's been trying to name things that ever since he had companies he could name things for. I've heard it's one of the reasons he was ousted from PayPal, because he tried to make it X.com and they're like, no.
Didn't he name his child X? I know it's
tried,
right. Yeah, like it's got all those symbols and equal signs and whatnot, but
he couldn't do that because you can't put weird characters on a birth certificate.
Okay.
The government literally won't let you. They're like, that's not a name. Come back with something else.
I could have sworn though that they said like, yeah, the way to pronounce the kid's name is just X.
Yeah, that's because that's what he wants to do.
That's all they allow.
It's SpaceX. It was X.com. It's the child is X. This is X. It's all X, right? Like,
yeah.
Every company he does, it's just like, I'm sure it would be Tesla if he could.
Oh, guaranteed. Big shout outs in the chat to both Justin the Good Life and Offbeat Slang. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Glad you could make it to an episode of the podcast.
Hey guys.
I don't think that y'all have met James before, but this is James. And we were mentioning earlier that we're a man shy right now. Paul is not here, but at least you could meet 2/3 of the crew tonight.
That's right. What was I saying? Oh my god, I got so distracted.
So anyways, X. So yeah. So
anyways, I saw some shit on Twitter where they were like, "Hey, don't worry about min-maxing. Don't min-max. It's not fun."
Yeah.
And a lot of people who run D&D games are like, min-maxing is fucking boring.
Yeah.
You're just trying to like. I actually did that in a Pathfinder campaign like over a decade ago. Not intentionally. It's just like you play a Pathfinder barbarian, and you end up being this like remorseless killing machine that like no dungeon encounter can hold up against, because like everybody else in the party was like, oh, I just want to do something cool and weird. I'm like, I'm not very smart, so I'm just gonna make a barbarian.
Yeah.
It turns out that like none of the encounters the DM set up were like really prepared for somebody with a very large weapon.
Yeah.
And like my like fistfuls of fucking dice I would use every time I fucking attacked. Yeah. I didn't even really push that hard for it. It's just something a Pathfinder barbarian is innately good at.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to figure it out. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, don't worry about it too much, man. Just like take your time. and like experiment. You figure out like, ooh, this works or this doesn't. Like, we'll remember that for next time.
Yeah.
And you just sort of see how it goes. And if an encounter goes badly, you're like, oh well, we'll do it. I'll be honest, man. A little part of my brain that I know is wrong. A little part of my brain that I know is wrong is saying, James, you should you should get Baldur's Gate 3 when it comes out on console. And you should play this game because it sounds very complicated. And I'm like,
Yeah.
brain, that's the dumbest fucking thing you've ever said. I have the attention span of a man with serious ADHD, because I do. I do has that. And I'm not I need not instant gratification, but nearly instant gratification
Yeah.
of some form. The game has got to reward me in some way immediately,
Right.
somehow. Be it the visuals or the writing or the mechanics. Definitely the mechanics. Where I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's how do I say this without breaking the embargo? All I'll say is
No,
that
you can't. Yeah.
without a doubt it is what a lot of people have been saying online about it. There's no question it's like a once in a century kind of game. It's
Okay.
if you consider yourself a D&D fan, I don't think that there's a better game for you, you know. But I think that that's been the way the series has been for maybe since the first iteration. These developers, this Team Larian, they definitely know what they're doing with this format. Okay. Yeah.
A lot of these sound like impressions. They're not scored, but they are impressions. So.
No, I'm just going based off of, honestly, I'm going based off of the impressions from people that have been playing early access for the past 3 years. And this is what people are saying online, is that it's like,
all right, okay.
Yeah.
One more time for anybody important listening. All of Brett's opinions are the opinions of the people who've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 in early access for the last 3 years.
Man, I haven't even been able to play the game. I'm so lost. So once I actually figure out how to play, I'll definitely come up with some impressions.
All right, I'm excited for these impressions.
Yeah.
Hey, have you been playing much Diablo 4?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the new season. It's good. It's good. I mean, so I'm not hardcore into it like a lot of people are. The game got shit on. It got completely shitted on when they released the season 1 update.
Rhett, I'm so bored. Rhett, I'm so goddamn bored. Rhett.
Really? With Diablo?
Yes. It hurts me in my little soul to say it, but like, after you whip the campaign's ass or whatever, it gets so fucking grindy.
Oh yeah.
And like, that's fine, but you not only is, oh my god, nope, we're good. I'm not going to throw up. I've decided. Not only do you have such a savage fucking grind you have to deal with, but on top of that, you have to wander all over the goddamn map to do it, which somehow for me, where it's just like, okay, not only do you have to like go take long walks or like do the ports, but not only do I have to travel all over the place to get this shit, but when I get there, the shit is exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just my build, maybe it's the thing that I've locked into, but like, I'm not having fun, man, and I need to. I want to have fun. I keep picking it up. I'm like, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna get into it, and we're gonna have a blast. And then I do not do that, and I don't know how to make that happen. I've gotten to like level 54, 55.
Yeah.
And like, something about like I think it's partially for me. It's something about the fact that like the legendary system is so different, where you have to just like find the affixes or whatever, or the aspects.
Yeah.
Like the specific item doesn't matter. It's just like, oh, it's got this thing on it. That's good for you. So it makes it so hard to like Like I don't have a strategy to grind for this shit. It's just like just keep playing and eventually it'll drop maybe. I'm like, nope. Nope. Absolutely not. I need a strategy. I need an optimal strategy. I need to be able to Batman my way to success, or else I don't want to do it. I don't want to just run instances and do dungeons and stuff, and eventually you'll get things. I'm like, I, I'm almost like 39 years old. I have a full time job. I have a wife. I don't have time for this shit,
Yeah.
man.
Did you start playing before the season 1 patch?
I did.
Yeah.
I know they nerfed some classes and stuff like that, but I need everybody to understand that a lot of the classes were actually really boring already, and then they just weren't as strong sometimes.
What are you playing
Sorcerer's-
as?
I switched to Necro because can have minions, and they're cool. But like I was playing Sorcerer, and it's just such an exhausting slog trying to like manage your mana all the time. Like you can pop off like one amazing spell that does a little bit of damage, and then you're like, oh, I'm tapped.
I
have
figured-
to fucking
I figured you were gonna say Sorcerer because based on the impressions that I'm getting from you, I figured you would say Sorcerer because
Well, you're right.
I think it's widely accepted that the Sorcerer is the worst class in the game. Glass cannon without the cannon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like they went to a glass blowing shop and made themselves a little pea shooter.
Yeah.
Or a little carving knife. You
Yeah.
know? It's just like no. But I'm gonna be honest. I found that to be the sorcerer's problem since Diablo 3.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I've always found that where they're like their main mission for sorcerer ever since the third game has been to like, listen, this character could be really cool. We have to make sure that never happens.
Right.
Okay, they cannot ever be cool. At least in D3, you could like fuck around and use spells and have fun until you hit the level cap, and then once you started endgame grinding, it was insufferable. But now, it sucks all the way through. It never gets good. You never have like a grace period where sorcerer is cool. It's just like a shitty time almost from the jump. You're like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what magic thing they did to make their spellcasters such dog shit, but like, I hate it.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they need to refine a few of the systems, especially after the season 1 patch. There's a lot of people that weren't too happy with it.
Because I think what they're trying to do is with D3, they had sort of the opposite problem. Where like they did seasons, they did updates, they did expansions, and suddenly it took you like 10 or 11 hours to maybe 15 before you were like an unstoppable immortal killing machine. And it was just like, we have to put a cap on that. We can't have this people doing this.
Right.
But they overcorrected. So you're like this little weaselly weenus who can't fucking do anything. And like you get to the end of your skill tree and it's like, is that it? Is there going to be a cool spell that comes up at some point? No. Fuck.
Right.
Like that's like, because they were like, they can't be too powerful or else it's going to be too easy. I'm like, that's fine. That's okay. There's so many other aspects of the game that are so unbelievably grindy. Having us be incredibly powerful would be a blessing because then it would make the endless item hunt so much more bearable.
Right. Yeah, I
But,
gotcha.
like,
I gotcha.
Now it's just crazy. We no cake. We can either have the cake or eat it.
Yeah.
So like I feel like I might just sit on it for like I don't know, a year until they get enough like angry fan vitriol. They're just like, okay, we figured out what all of you have been screaming about the most and we're gonna fix it.
Well, it seems like they got enough of that already. They've announced that they'll be correcting a few of the changes that they made in season 1, and I think there was an interview that came out with the director or somebody, some big figure at Blizzard, and he was like, yeah, we know that the season 1 update sucks. We're sorry. We're gonna fix this, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've been having fun with my druid. through season
Yeah,
1.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been cool.
I might I made a seasonal druid. I might give that a shot and fuck around and
Yeah, the
see what's
druid's
what.
cool. But yeah, it's tough to not agree that they put an overemphasis on these nightmare dungeons and doing them over and over and over again. And yeah, I don't know. It's a bit lacking in the end game right now for sure. It didn't feel worth it enough to reset my character for the new season as well. That was another thing. Like I got my necromancer up to like level 70 and I had to start over again with the druid. And again, while the druid's been fun, it just didn't quite feel like it was really worth it to reset and go back to square one.
Yeah. I will say something cool about this version, about Diablo 4, is that there's a lot of shit that you do on your main or eternal character that carries over to seasonal.
Yeah.
So like I think Altars of Lilith,
yeah,
those carry, and a lot of the realm unlocks and stuff where you like you do enough side quests and shit, and then you get those like bonuses to like potions and skill points and shit.
Yeah.
I think that carries over as well. So that's sick.
Yeah.
And I think there might be some other little things, but that's all I can think of right now. So it is in a sense kind of worth it to do a run with an Eternal guy for as much as you can stand it. And then you're like, okay, let's see what the seasonal's got.
Right.
And it seems like there's a lot of shit they're throwing into seasonal, but it's like, I don't understand any of it. There's like some sort of malignant hearts or something. It's like,
oh yeah,
you can make items, and then it's really feeling like a fucking mobile RPG, like a mobile game, like an RPG mobile game, you know, where they have like 700 kinds of currency and like 3 of them you can only get with real money, but you can never even figure out which ones they are or like what the other currencies do. It's just
100%.
yeah, I remember what Diablo 3 was like. I played it at launch. It was a fuck fest. I understand. This is apparently what Blizzard does. They take all these lessons, they learn the wrong ones.
It's crazy. After 27 seasons of Diablo 3, you would think that the transition to 4 would be a bit more seamless.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Well, it's a completely different game director, right? Like it's Ferguson, the Gears guy.
Yeah.
So like it's probably a bunch of the team, I would guess, is new.
Yeah.
And so they're probably just like, well, we want to make our mark and do something different. And then all of Blizzard's fans were like, no. And now they just have to sort of strike that balance.
I still can't believe that for the first time in like 10 years, they released a new class. The demon, or no, what was it? The Blood Knight. The Blood Knight. And they released it into fucking Diablo Immortal. Come on, y'all. 4 needs classes. Yeah, it needs its classes reworked a bit, but it needs more. 3 had like 10 of them, didn't it? It had a bunch of them.
Yeah. Well, like 6, I think 6 or 7. Yeah, because they had base 5, and then they introduced Paladin, and then they introduced Necro.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I think probably Diablo 4, you don't actually need to pick it up for like another year. I'm gonna say,
yeah,
6 months to a year.
Yeah,
they're gonna have a couple seasons. They're gonna like, they're gonna work out some of the kinks. They're gonna like maybe introduce a new class, but probably just tweak the existing ones. And then by the time you come back to it, it's gonna be better, like way better.
Yeah, unless you really got that FOMO and you're worried about missing out on their seasonal items. Yeah, I think I would agree with James that you'd probably be okay holding off for a year. Now, the story's cool. Don't get me wrong, the story's cool, like you were saying. Our boy that plays Lorath and Sid, he does a great job.
Oh, he does. He's awesome.
But yeah, it's the story's going to be there for you when you come in regardless. How good is the I mean, maybe a little bit of spoiler territory we're getting into at this point, but how good is the scene towards the end of the game, like the big war? You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Y'all roll into hell, and yeah, oh, Blizzard, Blizzard cutscenes at their finest. Though I will say that I will give them thumbs up on that one. Crazy, crazy.
Yeah, it's good shit.
Yeah,
That's kind of it. We talked a little bit about Final Fantasy. I played a bunch of that. Played a bunch of Diablo 4. Played a bunch of Pikmin 4.
yeah.
Played a bunch of thing I can't talk about yet. Not for another couple of weeks.
So what's hot in the news?
Well, the thing that I'm the most curious about is there's another batch of Switch 2 rumors. Now, if you've been listening to our podcast for a while now, you might know that I don't really fuck with these rumors generally. I used to write news articles for the site, and as a little experiment, a couple of times, what I would do is whenever one of these rumors came out, I would fucking go look for their sources. And you would follow this long little trail, and at the end of it was a fucking analyst, some guy deep in his cups, just paid to like make educated guesses about his aspect of the industry. And then it's just like, well, it's gonna be like this. I'm like, no, nobody cares, man. I don't give a shit who paid you to think up amazing ideas for what the next Switch is gonna be. That's not what we're fucking here for. We want to know what it is actually gonna be. And on the one hand, this sounds less like analyst bullshit. On the other hand, it is an anonymous source and it is traced all the way back to VGC. Now, I don't know what their history is, how many times their scoops turn out to be hogwash or like the real deal. But I will say that we have been hearing little bits about like manufacturers overseas and like talking about, oh, we're making shit for this Japanese company and it's going great and we're making a bunch of them and whatnot. It's like, oh, okay, cool. That tells us almost nothing, but thank you. So it's been little nothing burger rumors sort of swirling and coalescing into this thing that this mystery person, fucking Deep Throat, was telling to VGC about how like, oh, it's coming out in the second half of 2024 or Q2 or whatever, and it's going to be about as powerful. Oh, that's the thing. That's the fucking thing. Another thing that came out that like supported this latest batch of rumors was that Nintendo was involved in the fucking discovery documents for that Microsoft lawsuit.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Where they were like, some of Phil Spencer's comments or something he said on an earnings call or in some like meeting spilled out into the sunlight because he was talking about the fucking next Nintendo console. And it's like, oops. I mean, it exists. We knew it was coming, but like, it's cool to hear it from Philly, right?
Yeah.
And so now there's a couple of sources that have said it's going to be around as powerful, roughly, as like a PS4 or an Xbox One, which sounds bad, but also you have to remember the PS5 and the Series X are also about as powerful as a PS4 and an Xbox One. All the extra guts they have is just so they can render things faster and reliably in 4K.
Right.
I
mean, look at some of the games on the PS4 as well. Towards the end of its life cycle, it got God of War 2018 and Last of Us 2 and like all incredible looking games. Final Fantasy 7. Yeah. Well, you know, I think it'll be pretty cool to have that on the go.
I think it could be that good. I think it's possible that when people are like, "Oh, it's going to be about this powerful," they could be just looking at the like a spec sheet.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't mean that.
It was like,
certainly all developers won't be utilizing its entire its entire
Yeah.
hardware. If it's
Like-
not first party, you're probably not going to be seeing, yeah.
But it's one of those things that were like people were able to do some pretty wild shit with this ancient hardware that's plugged
Yeah.
into the Switch, the fucking 2016 Nvidia Shield or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's possible we'll get some cool shit. But there was some comments about how where people are concerned about backwards compatibility. Basically a like rumor of a rumor, which is
Right.
like
That'll be
not
fine.
nothing.
Right.
But like it probably won't be backwards compatible. Nintendo's never been good about that. Like right? Like ever? I mean the Wii, okay, you could play GameCube games.
Yeah.
That was cool. I don't know that they really did much of that. And I think the Wii and I actually don't know if the Wii and the Wii U talked at all, right? Like I don't know. Cuz I never that's the Wii U is the one Nintendo system I never owned.
Well, like, yeah, no, you weren't. Yeah, I don't know. I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure that, yeah, no, you could pop a Wii game into a Wii U and it would play. But obviously, if the game utilized the fucking motion controls in your Wii Chuck, or what was it called, the Nunchuck, then yeah, it's that would present problems.
Yeah, and what I've heard, again, whisper of a thing, is that it's using cartridges again, which
The Switch too.
which probably means that it doesn't have a ton of memory on it.
Right. Oh, like cartridges that ones that are like the same size as the Switch? No?
Don't know.
So my mind immediately goes to a fucking Super Nintendo cartridge, plugging that bitch into your handheld system.
I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't hate it. You know,
honestly, like, see, I think that a lot of people would be happy with the system. It doesn't necessarily need to like even be a PS4 or an Xbox One, as long as the Switch 2 could run like Tears of the Kingdom at 60 frames. As long as it hits like that kind of benchmark, I think most people are going to be happy with it.
No, it's not going to do that. I just,
then in my opinion, I'm like, why the hell are they even making this thing? If it can't run Tears of the Kingdom at 60, doesn't need visual upgrades because it looks good enough. But that's crazy to me.
I don't know. Again, this isn't
pure speculation. Pure speculation. Yeah,
this isn't based on anything. It's just the fact that like I don't think they've ever cared about that.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
It's never mattered to them. They're just like, it runs at the frame rate that we think it will look best at. It's like, and they're like, but what about 60? It's like, fuck your 60.
Yeah, fuck your 60.
Up back to the alley and beat it to death. What do you say, huh?
You'll take what we give you and you'll like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
No, I think it would behoove them to have some sort of like parity of communication. Like this version of the shop, right? The Switch eShop, there has to be some continuation, right? Like there has to be some communication between the two systems because I think people are really getting weary of having their digital libraries be obsolete every time they come up with a new system.
Yeah.
And like I know nothing of Nintendo's history supports them changing their behavior at this point, but it would be great if they did.
I think if they're gonna keep it in the Switch family, if it's gonna be called the Switch 2 or whatever, if it's like clearly the next iteration of the Switch, it's gotta have backwards compatibility. But if it's the fucking Nintendo, Polygon, then yeah, okay, maybe we can move on to a new library of new games. But if it's actually the Switch 2, I don't see why it can't be. I understand, back then, yeah, they may not have the best track record given what they've done with backwards compatibility in the past, but I think it's a new day and age. I think it's easier to implement backwards compatibility into these systems. And I don't know, I think it'd be a pretty big mistake if they didn't with this new Switch 2.
I'm a little bummed out because I want them to come up with something really wacky and weird, but I feel like they sort of hit hit it with the Switch. Like I feel like they're just like
Switch is
we
pretty
don't
wacky. Switch is pretty
they
wacky.
I don't feel like they need to really iterate much.
Yeah.
Like because you can't go back from having a big sexy screen like that, you know? Like
Hmm.
they can't give it less screen real estate. They can make it even chunkier for like a big chunky thing, but if it's too heavy, then the children can't play with it, right? And then that's bad. Then you cut a bunch of your market share out.
I think you got to go with the clamshell Switch and have same size screens as they have now, but have two of them.
Jesus, that would be I
It'd be like a
for I
fucking
mean
iPad at that point.
I would love that, but I just what I want and what is good for the company are not really the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I want. I want them to bring back the atomic colors, you know, the ones that are like
Ooh,
translucent.
my
Yeah,
it's over
do
there.
that. Do that for me. Do that for me, Nintendo, and that's fine.
Atomic
That's all.
was hands down. Atomic was the greatest color they ever came out with for any of their
Yeah,
systems.
yeah.
That's no
You,
question. There's no question.
you can change nothing about the design. Just make it so the next generation has atomic colors,
Yeah.
and then that's fine.
Yeah.
Or a really crazy bones controller for when
Ooh.
it's like docked.
Okay.
Just some like wacky shit where you pick it up and you're like, this is gonna hurt my hands so badly.
Well, I think though, speaking of the controller, like that is one place where they definitely can innovate a bit. I think not many people were happy with the Joy-Cons, even though like I like the idea of it, detachable from the
Oh,
controller,
yeah.
and you've always got two controllers theoretically that you can take and play multiplayer games with you on the go. But I think that they need to come up with some serious innovation at the very least for the analog sticks on the Joy-Cons.
Oh, yeah, there are definitely things they could fix.
Yeah,
You're right. The controllers could be so much fucking better.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but like that that feels like I'm dreaming too big for those crotchety old fuckers.
I know, right?
Uh, but it would be awesome. Just take like a pro controller, take a chainsaw, cut it in half, and then
Yeah.
glue both halves of that pro controller to the sides of the console, and
Yeah.
then that's it. That's all I need.
It's funny that stuff like that does exist through third-party manufacturers. Like you can
Yeah,
definitely
because
go out and get like the GameCube controller. That one was really popular, where they basically took one of those and cut it in half and put rails on it.
I fucking love that. That'd be so good.
Yeah, yeah.
But you can't really stick that into a docking station.
Yeah.
But that's another thing they can fix with the new iteration, because the docking station, it's like the U shape, and every time people slide shit in and out of there,
Yeah.
there's a chance you're gonna scratch your fucking screen, and people aren't really down with that. That's the thing the third party people fix, where they're just like, no, you don't need any of that. You just click it into place. It can be like a little resting thing. Like
Exactly. They can absolutely get rid of like the front shield on the dock and have it just be a little cradle, little baby cradle.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if it's just a cradle like that, you can make the controllers any shape you fucking want,
Yeah,
man.
totally.
They
Well,
could, they,
100%.
they could be crazy shit.
Man,
You
there's
can put
lots that they could do. It's like you said, it's just a matter of whether these crotchety old men will actually want to do it.
Well, I mean, it's not really fair to say. I think a Nintendo has a lot of the times they put a lot. Well, at least the Pokemon team is new blood all the time. I don't know what Nintendo main. I don't know what the mothership team is like, but
Right.
yeah, it'd be great if they could just like go crazy with it. Like we had that we're due for that, right? Because with the Wii, it was brilliant innovation, and then the Wii U was weird,
Yeah.
and then the Switch is brilliant innovation. So the Switch 2 should be like their sophomore album, where they're just like they're bringing out all the wacky shit, and they got a new producer, and they went away to a cabin in the woods for 6 months to record it, and it's just like
Would you be fine with it if there was really no innovation to it? You essentially were getting the Switch OLED, but it is able to say do things like run Tears of the Kingdom at 60 frames. Would you be okay with that?
I guess.
I guess
Like,
it would depend on the price point.
Yeah, that. Ooh, there you go.
Yeah.
Because like, if it's just like it's a more powerful Switch, I'm like, that flies against your entire design philosophy, and
Right.
the controllers still suck. I
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I think I would. I don't know. Yeah, the price point makes a huge difference, and it's just like, I guess it's okay, but like, I really preferred if you guys could like rally your troops and make a controller that doesn't die after 6 months to a year, and you have to have it replaced because of Joy-Con drift. Like,
And even in the face of all that Joy-Con drift controversy, they refused to like even acknowledge it, to even say that there was an issue. So I wouldn't be surprised if those.
They had it for a while where you could send your shit in and they would just repair it for free.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but
So
it was
they
kind
were
of like an open secret that they were trying to keep that they even did that. You know, it was like they definitely didn't advertise it. They definitely didn't advertise it. And I understand. As a company, you don't really want to just be like, hey, listen, we know our controllers are going to break on you, so if they do. But at the same time, I think back to the Xbox 360 when it had an immense issue with that red ring of death. You knew what you could do with it if you did get that red ring. You knew that you could send it to Microsoft. You knew that they would ship you out a box and they'd take care of everything. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, fix the fucking controllers.
Yeah.
That's like 60 frames if there's time, but fix the fucking controllers.
I don't know anybody that owns a Switch that hasn't at least once had to replace one or both of the Joy-Cons.
I should replace mine for my original Switch.
Are they bad?
They're borked. They're unusable.
Oh yeah, I remember we've been talking about this for a long time too. They've been unusable for some time, right?
But I keep getting sent more controllers. So
yeah, so it's like whatever.
Because who is it? There's a couple of companies that make them. There's one that I've reviewed. Oh my god, I'm blanking on the name. But they're a third-party company, and they make Switch controllers, and I have like 4 of them.
Hyperkin?
No, not Hyperkin. Not 8-Bit Do.
Oh yeah, yeah. The 8-Bit Do ones are pretty nice.
They are. I have one of them.
Yeah.
They're. Oh my god. Okay, here's a bit of news that I think is cool. In a week, 8-Bit Do is opening up pre-orders for this keyboard. It's like a mechanical keyboard, wireless and wired versions available. That's done up in the style of the NES and Famicom. So there's 2 different versions. So you can either get one with like NES colors or Famicom colors, and you can get these like 2 giant A and B buttons that come with the controller that are mappable.
What?
They're like this big. But you gotta look it up. You gotta look up the fucking.
And they go on the keyboard?
No, they just come with it. Like they sort of hang to the side.
Okay.
I think I haven't read all the stuff, but I keep seeing them in the write-ups, and it's just like these giant buttons. I'm like, I want it so bad. It looks so good.
I gotta look this up now. The retro mechanical keyboard?
Yeah, from 8-Bit Do. It's like
yeah. Yo, that's sweet.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a giant A button.
The keyboard itself as well is super sexy.
Yeah, it's got like hard like analog knobs for like switching from Bluetooth to 2.4G wireless.
Yeah.
And there's one for like volume and shit. It looks really good.
Yeah, this is nice.
I don't need another mechanical keyboard, but I want that one.
Yeah, the specially designed 8-Bit Do dual super buttons offer large programmable keys. Set macros to the super buttons or map. So, I mean, any streamer would love this. Or map anything to them instantly without using software. Connect up to 4 sets. So that'd be fun, having fucking 8 of these buttons around you.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I love it.
No, this looks cool. I might have to get one.
I know. I don't need it, but I want it.
The nice thing about 8-Bit Do as well is that they always keep their prices reasonable. You know, they're not like a fucking... They make premium stuff, but they don't charge a premium price.
That one is 99 American. So
99 American. I mean, it's a mechanical though. It looks like you can swap out the switches for everything you
Yes,
can do
you
with
can.
it. It looks like it's going to be a very, very reasonably priced keyboard.
yeah, all of my mechanical keyboards are Steel Series, which are good.
Yeah.
I got no complaints. But
You should see how bad the fucking keyboard I have now. I reviewed it for the site maybe a couple years ago. It's the Razer Black Widow V3, 65%.
mhm.
I think it's the worst keyboard I've ever owned. At this point now, it's like if I try to type something, it like I'll hit the A key and it'll type the A 4 times.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And then I'll hit the delete key and it won't delete. And I'll hit it again and then it'll delete more than I'm trying to have it delete. And it's just, dude, as soon as I get a new one, I think I'm going to film a video of me smashing this one. I hate it.
Okay.
I hate it with a passion.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other news?
Oh, man.
Switch news. I was quickly scrolling through my feed here trying to find stuff, but it's like Diablo, the new patch notes have come out. Yeah, I'm not.
They'd have to change a lot.
I have to change a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Starfield's getting cross save, so you'll be able to play it anywhere.
I'm so excited for Starfield. It's gonna be so good.
It's gonna be wicked. It's gonna be wicked. I want to get excited for another Bethesda game, you know? I was thinking about that the other day, that it's been a while since I've been excited for one of their games. Fallout 4 really was the last time. And that was like 10 years ago almost now. Yeah.
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean that might be it. That might be the news. I was flipping through the list and it's a lot of little bits, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of pretty chill items, not a whole lot going on. But also it's been like a month
Yeah.
since we've even been on, so we're probably just missing crazy shit that we haven't even thought of.
We hit an hour.
We did.
That was kind of the goal. We wanted to just pop in, say hello. We know we hadn't done a cast in a little while now.
We will get on Paul's case.
Yeah.
And we will come back next week and we will have so much to say about news. Not much more to say about games. It turns out the thing that I can't talk about, I still can't talk about next week, so I'm gonna have to
tough.
I'm gonna have to figure something out.
I see that
for my segment.
Looks like Payday 3 became available for review just a second ago, so maybe that'll get discussed in the next oh no, it's the tech test. Never mind. It's just the technical test.
Pass.
We'll pass. Hard pass, yeah. All right. Well, anything else, James?
Listen,
you made it. You made it through without upchucking.
That's right. I feel really good about that.
Nice.
Here's the important things you need to know. Diablo 4 will be good at some point, but maybe it's not now. Final Fantasy 16 is good at some point, and that was now and a month ago and tomorrow and forever. Pikmin 4 is good if you like Pikmin.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, maybe that'll be good.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
We can't say yet, but we will.
Yep.
If it's good or bad, you'll know. Here at Press Exit Podcast, we will tell you.
100%. 100%. I hope that you'll get a copy of it later when it comes out on console later this month, I believe. Comes out at the end of the month on console.
Yeah, I think like September or something.
I would love to hear what you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. All
right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think we'll be back probably next Monday, maybe Tuesday, or Monday or Wednesday next week. Yeah. Cool. Until then, take care of yourselves. Be good to each other. What does Paul say?
Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other.
Yeah. Be good. We'll talk to you very, very soon, I'm sure.